Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you all. Thank you for this invitation to learn with you and to converse about really important issues on social defense, and particularly in the context of authoritarian uh, conditions. My name's Eli McCarthy. I'm here in Washington, D.C. I'm going to share a little bit about the D.C. Peace Team, which is an organization that offers and trains people in unarmed civilian protection. Our focus is cultivating the habits and the skills of nonviolence in our communities so we can better resist injustice and thus build a more sustainable, just peace. And we have a few areas of focus. One is a set of nonviolent skill trainings, and I'll talk about those in a moment. Second is unarmed civilian protection, or the deployment of units or teams to situations where there may be intense conflict or hostility or violence. Restorative justice circles to help identify harm and how to heal harm, as well as anti-racism and racial equity initiatives. So this top picture here is one of our deployments in a local plaza in downtown DC, where there are folks who are struggling with different kinds of drinking or drugs or mental health issues, and sometimes they get into arguments, conflicts, fights, and we are there to build trust and de-escalate and connect them to various social services. These are a few pictures. Elian is one of our top trainers. The top right picture was a Black Lives Matter demonstration in Washington, D.C. And the bottom picture was from one of the election demonstrations around 2020 as well. So these are the different trainings that we offer. Active bystander intervention and de-escalation, nonviolent communication, which is for interpersonal conflicts, unarmed civilian protection, the deployment of teams or units, restorative justice processes, trauma awareness, and somatic coaching for kind of bodily attentiveness and healing, nonviolent self-defense, and anti-racism. These are a range of de-escalation tactics that we learn about in our trainings, where we'll be offering a 2-hour training tomorrow, where you'll have a chance to dive into some of these tactics and do some role plays and scenarios as well. So we got started in 2011, and we were co-founded by a guy named Cortez McDaniel, who spent some time in jail and came out and wanted to do some constructive work in the community. And since then, we have trained over 12,000 people, 2,700 in the last year, over 150 trainings in 2025, and the increase requests for trainings has increased by 35% over the past year. So these are just a couple examples of community safety units where we are hired by local farmers markets. One called Columbia Heights, where we're there 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, and Langley Park is a Wednesday market, and they ask us to help um, build trust with a number of the people in the space who have different kinds of struggles, from broken families to being in and out of gangs to drinking or mental health or unhoused, or some are undocumented. And we build that trust, and through that trust, we're able to not only de-escalate conflicts. We've had over 280 de-escalations since August 2021, including 5 times someone's pulled a knife out on another person. We also build empathy connections, over 6,000 since 2022. These are kind of longer conversations that go beyond just a hello, and they're critical for being able to build that mutual protective energy that can help us when it's time to de-escalate and so forth. We've also been able to help people move out of poverty or different kinds of struggles Over 100 people have gotten housing, got a job, completed a detox for alcoholism or other kind of treatment. And we're working right now to develop a 24-hour hotline over the weekend in Columbia Heights where community members can call us for any kind of conflict that comes up, and we will have people there to respond as best we can. The other form of unarmed civilian protection comes with singular events. So we had about 11 event requests in 2024, it increased to 42 in 2025. This is where we are deployed as a nonpartisan unit, but usually organizers invite us to help protect the people, perhaps in an immigration demonstration or a climate rally or LGBTQ or war. We also do training of election poll peacekeepers. So we have another set of elections coming up in November at the federal level. So we're doing multiple trainings for different groups that are sending peacekeepers to the election polls to try to de-escalate any kind of disruption. We are also invited to different cultural events, music, arts, holidays, to be their safety unit and to de-escalate any kind of harmful conflict that might come up. We have at times accompanied political figures. There was a woman running for Congress in Missouri, and she was under a lot of different kinds of threats, and she asked us to accompany her 24 hours a day for a period of 3 or 4 months before her election. These are some examples of organizations that will ask for our services or trainings or circles. A lot of groups in the social service sector, so people that work with youth or unhoused or people in poverty, people of color, different kinds of marginalized groups. The government, local government, federal government, state government, different agencies have asked us for trainings as well. Child and Family Services, U.S. Attorney General Office, so a number of different parts of our governments. And then other kinds of groups that will ask for trainings, violence prevention, high school, middle school, college, universities, advocacy organizations, religious and international, and even businesses. So what are a couple lessons learned? So these are a couple from, we got started in 2011 through, and so been around for about 15 years. One is that it's important to create opportunities to learn a broad set of nonviolent skills because this forms us as certain people and communities where we can better imagine unarmed civilian protection and then also have the capacity to do it well. So this means not just getting trained in unarmed civilian protection, but also trainings in nonviolent communication, active bystander intervention, restorative justice, trauma healing, meditation, somatic coaching. Second, to really be ready to respond to the social context and the political development. So like in 2016, with our elections, there is a lot more intensity of polarization, people concerned about getting harassed or beat up or assaulted. So we developed a training on active bystander intervention that a lot of people really wanted to learn those skills. More recently, we've had federal agents raiding different communities towards people that were immigrants or associated with immigrants. So we developed training on bystander intervention and ICE. ICE stands for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency of the government. And then also developing more nonviolent resistance training for authoritarian dynamics kind of more generally. So those have been some examples of trying to respond to political developments. And then more recently, we've been facing a political strategy of distraction and division to kind of fragment and overwhelm the resistance in our country, the United States. So it's been really important to stay focused as much as possible and to be caring with each other in the sort of different um, tensions and traumas that people are experiencing. Second, to really try to see the big picture and the longer term process and not get too overwhelmed with kind of short term moments or goals, but to realize there's a bigger process going on, and to keep an eye on those dynamics and to kind of see that we're a part of that longer process. But we have an important role at this moment to do what we can for justice and peace. So, for example, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, our training on bystander intervention in ICE will include themes like how to create a network of relations, right? Who are the people in the community that it's important to have lines of communication with, whether it's community organizers, local city council members, religious leaders, veterans, media. Who are the people we need to be in touch with? So when ICE might be coming to a town or a neighborhood, we can communicate. We have those people ready to do different kinds of tasks, and we have a rapid response network, people that will actually show up to the place to try to de-escalate. And I'll show you some videos of this tomorrow in the training as we kind of go through some more examples. And of course, we learn tactics of de-escalation as I shared previously. One other example is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where there's a big surge of 3,000 or so ICE agents, and the local community trained about 30,000 legal observers. They did all sorts of mutual aid, helping people with food, helping people to pay rent because they were afraid to kind of go to work or leave their house. Um, Corporate pressure on places like Target and Enterprise that were helping ICE agents either get around or the hotels they were staying at, civil disobedience at airports. And this idea called neighborism in Minneapolis really started to take shape of just getting to know your neighbors even more and being there to protect each other as much as possible in a lot of different ways. So last slide here, just some other kind of learnings over the past year or two. The importance of building capacity and trust through a range of unarmed protection events, demonstrations, working at markets that have a range of different kinds of risk, right? So some people may be ready to take those more intense risks where there's a lot of police or even hostility. Others are, are ready for a smaller set of risks by maybe working at a farmer's market or a music event, but just giving people options so we can start to develop our capacity and trust if things start to even get more intense. Second, to really stay tuned into coalition partners. So although we're doing trainings around bystander intervention and ICE, we stay in close conversation with our immigrant rights groups and those doing Know Your Rights training in the legal space so we can be aligned and kind of learn from them as well, rather than just kind of do our own thing. Third, to kind of build networks of unarmed protection in different towns and cities. So in the US, we have a network called Shanti Sena, which is about 15 to 16 different peace teams across the US and some in Canada. And then there's a global network called the UCPA, Community of Practice, with about 60 organizations in different parts of the world and cultures. And then the last two here, just to try to link unarmed protection, nonviolent resistance, and civilian-based defense or social defense in our training, in our education, our organizing, and when we have opportunities in policy proposals. And again, formation is critical. So a broad range of trainings and different nonviolent skills. And one initiative we have is creating these training hubs at different universities or colleges where they commit to at least 1 or 2 trainings a year in one of these skills, and then the students and the staff can become trainers and start to lead the trainings at their universities. So I will leave it there and look forward to our discussion. Thank you.